All right, y'all. So I was trying to figure out, I'm trying to hide my gray hair. I was trying to figure out how to articulate my thoughts because Rakai popped out again in well, not a dress, but in a wig and some pink Louis V overalls and a little, a little blouse, a little blue, little blouse, little sweater situation. And like, I get it. I understand what he's doing. He's trying to be a character. He's trying to be a meme. I get it. But he be doing this a lot. And it's actually very concerning. And to a lot of people, it's just funny. It's just jokes. But when I see this type of stuff repeatedly over and over and over again, and the willingness to humiliate yourself for the sake of viewership, for the sake of attention, it really starts to raise some serious questions. And I talked about this in my last video, because in my last video about Rakai specifically, he dressed up as, I think it was like some character from White Chicks. Oh, it's right here. So he dressed up as whatever it is supposed to be right here. It looked like a character out of White Chicks for Halloween. And, I thought that this was going to be the last time that we spoke on Rakai dressing up like a woman, but I guess it's not. And like I said, I was trying to find the right words to articulate exactly how I felt. And then I stumbled across this interview, which, by the way, this Katt Williams interview perfectly sums up exactly how I'm feeling and thinking. And I've never seen it until this very moment. And I'm thankful that this exists. So I want to watch this with y'all. It's really quick, and then we'll continue our conversation. All right, let's go.
There was a recent controversy online. I know you don't spend all your time online about Kevin Hart.
By the way, this is from Black Tree TV. Shout out to Black Tree TV for the clip. And this is a little ways back. So this was a promo for Scary Movie. I think, what is that? Is that a 4 or a 5? I don't know, but this is a promo from Scary Movie from Black Tree TV.
Wearing a dress in the SNL skit. And Dave Chappelle spoke about that as a comedian. Black actors are always, being asked to wear dresses. Have you ran into that? And what do you think about that whole Illuminati theory that people put out there about that?
Well, thanks for that softball question. It's two answers. First of all, let's be very, very clear. It is possible that there isn't anything funnier than a guy in a dress. And if that's the case, then it might also be said that there's nothing funnier than a black guy in a dress. Okay, well, I watched all of my friends throughout my entire life be able to dunk a basketball, but not me. So everybody can't do everything. So, some of us make choices. I think it's not a biggest choice for others. I'm saying at the end of the day, Kevin doesn't have to worry about what people are going to say about him wearing a dress because of the long line of dress wearing people before him. So now we have Big Mama's house 1, 2, and 3.
Yeah.
I've never seen Medea in a pantsuit. I think she wears dresses. So now I'm saying, why are we picking on poor little Kevin Hart? Because it was his turn next.
Okay.
Some of us are against the Illuminati, and we are against the Illuminati at our own detriment. When people are against the Illuminati, then they get punched in the face all the time. The press hates them, and nobody likes them. End quote.
I mean, we all love Dave Chappelle.
Exactly. Dave Chappelle has never been a part of the Illuminati. They don't want him or me or people like us.
Yeah.
But now it's not necessary for us to stir up that hornet's nest unless we intend to get stung 1,000,000 times. I didn't understand that. They had to sting me 1,000,000 times.
Right.
I'm still not going to join, but I respect it a little more.
All right. How do you handle that? Because they put your name in the press with a lot of rumors and a lot of situations that they try to put on Katt Williams. Do you feel ever the need to, like, I got to go defend this and put out a story about who I am, or do you just let that kind of like roll off your back when
Well,
people...
as you can see, I've let it all go for quite some time, and a lot of that is just based upon the fact that I don't really know how to complain because all of the people that I ever looked up to had to go through it too. So I know how much they talked about Martin Luther King, and I know what they ended up doing to him. I know this same story about Jesus and a few of my uncles. So now I know that if your mouth is really, really big and you try to tell the truth for a living and you like to air people out, hatred is coming your way. I didn't know it was going to be this type of hatred, but you know, I'm concrete in all things because of He who strengthens me. So that doesn't mean I always make the right decisions, but I am going to stand by what I stand for, and I'm only continuing to do it because I was looking for somebody who was doing it instead of me. And I just must have missed them, you know what I mean? So at some point you have to figure out what example are you trying to be. If it's just going to be you going to make it and live happily ever after and go off into the sunset, then that's what that is. Otherwise, you're on the front line of this battle. And those of us who understand that this is a part of what comes with it.
He said at some point you got to figure out what example you're trying to be. Now, I've seen clips of this conversation. I've heard people talk about it, obviously. I've never actually watched the full, 4-minute segment of that question. Now, at some point, you got to determine what is it that you're trying to be. I heard people saying, because I was watching a little bit of the replay of, excuse me, sir. I was watching a little bit of the replay of his stream, and people in the chat were saying that he needs a father. They were literally saying, you need a father. And I'm thinking, as I'm watching this, it's the same stuff that we see over and over and over and over again. Even more recently, you remember when Aiden Ross was really popping and he had all those rappers and stuff on his stream, and he was, you remember that little run that Aiden was on. You remember all that zesty stuff that he was doing, all that sweet stuff that he was doing over and over and over and over, like literally making people feel uncomfortable because he's just overly zesty, overly freaked out. You remember that? And I'm thinking like, Aiden kind of passed that to, and some of y'all not going to agree with this, but if you watched his last Mafia-thon, then you'll see what I'm talking about. But Aiden kind of passed that to Kai, because Kai be doing some crazy, wild, freaked out stuff, zesty stuff, and everyone laughing and hee-haw, and it's like it's the funniest thing in the world, right? And then Kai kind of passed that to Rakai, and now we see Rakai going down that same path. And what did Kevin Hart say? It was his turn next. What did Katt Williams say in reference to Kevin Hart? It was his turn next. It was his turn next. And that's exactly what I was thinking as I'm watching Rakai for the second time in as many months humiliate himself in front of millions of people. It's like, I guess it's your turn next. But we have a decision. This is a choice. You're choosing to go down this route. But here's the thing. This route is going to reward you. But what type of reward are you seeking? Are you seeking a reward that is simply based on this earth, or are you seeking something greater than that? And that's what Katt Williams was saying towards the end of that interview. At some point, you got to determine what is it that you're standing for. At some point, you got to determine why are you doing this? How come you want to be famous? How come you want to be successful? Why do you want to be a streamer? Why do you want to make all this money? At what cost? What are you willing to pay? What are you willing to do? Is there any limit to what you're willing to do? Or is everything just free game? Interesting story. Curious to know what y'all think. Get in my comments. Like this video. I'm out, y'all.